was a part-time starter in '56 when we were undefeated. And we won the first undefeated team in the history of the tournament. And like I was telling her, the '55 team was the first team in the country, all-black team in the country to win the championship. And I went to Indiana Central College in 1957, '58, played varsity out there a couple of years, dropped out, and then I played it for some age. Oh, well, my name's John Gipson. Went to Crispus Attucks High School, graduated in 1956. Played ball there. Well, I played freshman, reserve, and I played varsity in '55 and '56, and we won the championship. I was a part-time starter in '56 when we were undefeated. And we won the first undefeated team in the history of the tournament. And like I was telling her, the '55 team was the first team in the country, all-black team in the country to win a championship. And I went to Indiana Central College in 1957, '58, played varsity out there a couple of years, dropped out, and then I played some AAU ball, a couple of teams in the city, 7-Up Bottling Company. We won the city AAU championship. Went to the state down in Brownstown, Indiana. And then the next year I played with the PR Mallory and Company. And we won the city again. We went back to the tournament. But we never could get past the state to go to the nationals out in Denver, Colorado. We couldn't get that far. My team wasn't that strong, you know. And I toured with Goose Statham, a guy that played with the Harlem Globetrotters. He left the Globetrotters and formed his own team. And I went to a tryout camp up there, made the team, and toured with him for 3 years. And I got married. I got tired of being on the roads, you know. And then I was on one of the 24 faces of the Super Bowl in 2012, when they had the Super Bowl in Indianapolis.
Yes.
Myself and 2 of the Colts, and then other people around it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I did quite a bit of stuff, you know. They kind of made me the team historian. They always called me,
yes,
hey, go do this, or can you do this, you know, and I end up doing, you know, being, I just looked up on this when Kevin called me, you know, he said, hey man, you do this? I said, yeah, sure, cuz I'll go out and do it, you know.
That's wonderful.
And basically that's about it. I've been retired since 1998. And basically I haven't been doing, I worked at the Canterbury in 2013. And then I'm just retired now.
Could you tell me a little bit about the exhibit, some of the things?
Oh yeah, that's my exhibit. It tells all the guys I played with. You can read it, see where they went to school and what their accomplishments were, and where they went to college, and all the different awards they won. Some of them went to Butler. Willie Merriweather was All-American at Purdue. Bill Scott was all-conference performer at Butler. And Stan Patton and Bill Brown, they played on the small college national championship team with Tennessee State University. And myself, I played out there in Central College, Oscar's brother. And Oscar, it'd take me all day to talk about him, but there's all of this stuff he did, you know. But, and then they came out with this shoe for Black History Month, commemorating what we did in 1955. And the shoe comes out sometime in April, I guess, March or April, you know, the spring. And like I was telling somebody, I was fortunate enough to run into a guy, and all he did was email him, and they got back with him and gave him a pair. They said, well, we can't do any business with it, but since the gentleman played on the team, we'll be glad to give him a pair of shoes, and other shoes, you know. And all the other guys been calling me from all over the country, I need to get some shoes, or we go get some, you know. I said, yeah, that's probably, when time comes, I look for them to give them a pair.
Yes.
You know.
Right.
Basically, that's about it. My book is being updated right now, you know, all the stuff that happened in the last 10 or 15 years. It's called Winners. I just picked that cause that's all we did was win, you know.
What's it about?
It's about the beginning of Attucks and stuff my friends, how we made the team, and just personal stuff on each one of us, and some of the accolades that we reached along the way. because a lot of stuff's happened since I published that. That's why I'm updating it now, you know. And it has stuff about the coach in there. He won 179 games and lost 20 in 7 years. That's the best winning percentage in the history of the tournament, you know.
Really?
Yeah. And he could never get a job anywhere else after he left coaching and went to be athletic director at Adams. And then after he was athletic director a few years, he tired of that, wanted to coach in college, but nobody would hire him, you know. And basically that's about all it is, and there's a lot of personal stuff in there.
So how did you all get the news that you would be able to go to the state championship?
Well, you had to play, well, first they had to go to the state legislature to get them to put up a law that says addicts could be in the IHSA.
Okay.
Because they didn't want them in the IHSA.
Okay.
So after they got in there, they had to go through like a learning period. Nobody would schedule them in the city. They had to play all around the state.
Was that in protest for?
Well, no, that's the only way they could get games.
Okay,
And
okay.
that's the
Because
city.
it was segregated at
Yeah.
the time.
They wouldn't schedule them, and so eventually, in 1951, it was, I call it the breakthrough year, they beat Anderson on a last-second shot to win the regional.
Okay,
And then that team went all the way to the morning game of the state finals.
okay.
And that kind of set the bar for all the young guys coming up and inspire them to play. That's when I fell in love with the game, you know.
Yes.
When they went all the way, they lost, but just by them getting there, it meant something to us. You know.
Who lost? Anderson?
Addicts.
Okay, Addicts lost.
They
Okay.
lost to Evansville
Evansville, okay.
in the morning game of the state finals, you know. And that was something to go that far in the tournament, you know.
Yes.
So then the next year, 51, they went to the semi-state a couple years in a row. They
Okay,
got knocked out
okay,
for the officiating and stuff like that.
okay. So
And
then it wasn't necessarily the game, it was the officials that were calling the game.
Well,
what you're
yeah,
saying?
they had a lot to do with the outcome of the games in the
Yes.
early years.
Okay, okay,
If they called some bad calls, we had 5 guys on the bench come in just as good as the guys out on the floor, you know.
okay,
And then the
okay.
next year, we only lost 1 game that year. We beat Gary Roosevelt, another all-black school out of Gary.
Yes,
We beat them for the title. And then the next year, we went undefeated.
okay.
and
What
lose
year
a
was
game.
that?
1956.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And that's when you went to the state
Yeah, we went to the state.
and you won the state
Yeah.
championship. So that was an undefeated year for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
First
it
time
was.
it happened in the history of the tournament, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was double history making.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Well, any advice that you can give to our players today, or just students in general, but you know, our basketball athletes, they would really love to hear.
Well, you got to get your head together to play the game, you know. Don't let your emotions affect your play, you know, like bad calls from officiating.
Yes.
And just basically learning the fundamentals of the game and playing it without any animosity, you know, don't have no, some guys don't want to be a bully while they're playing.
Yes.
You can't do that, you know.
Okay. Okay.
And just keep a low key, just stay low key, you know, keep a cool head, you know. Because I tell you something, the way my coach did, he never raised his voice. You know, in tryouts, or regular practice, or nothing, you know. Then when we went to a game, he'd just sit there with his legs crossed.
Okay.
And people, you know, they'd call a bad call. He wouldn't say nothing, he would just sit there. And if one of us said something, because we learned from the previous team not to say anything.
Right. Right. Right.
Because he'd pull you right out and put somebody else in there, you know.
Okay.
And so we learned from him, just don't say nothing, just play through it.
He was a good role model for
Yeah,
you.
he was, yeah.
Okay. So you were number 45, and what was your position?
Oh, I played, in 55, I played center.
Okay.
I was a backup center, and then 56, I was a starting center.
Okay.
I was a forward, really, you know, because I played outside. Back then, we all played several positions, you know.
Okay.
Some guys could play all 3 positions. I could play 2, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we surely appreciate you coming to Zionsville Community High School. You've made history yet again.
Yeah, it keeps happening, you know. I
In this
thought it was
day and
all over,
time.
you know. And
Yes.
they honored us on Congress one in 2015.
Say that one more time.
They honored us in a session of Congress.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Senator Dan Coates did a thing, talked about us, and what do they call it? They give you not a certificate, but a
Commendation.
commendation. Recognize us being the first black team in the country to win a state championship.
In the country?
Yeah.
I thought this was just Indiana history.
No, we were the first Indianapolis team to win a tournament, but we were the first school to win all over the country in '55.
Oh my goodness. That was a record-breaking year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, It really was.
That's wonderful. Do you still stay in touch with some of the...
Yeah, there's not many of us left. There's only about 5 or 6. 5 of us played on both the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar, myself, Brown Patton, Sam Milton, and somebody. But anyway, they all played on both teams.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lost about 7 members
Okay.
that passed away,
Okay.
So-
So when you say Oscar, that's Oscar Robinson?
Oscar Robertson.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he lives in Florida, Orlando now, and then we got Willie Merriweather lives in San Antonio, and Stan Patton lives in Miami, Florida.
Okay. Everybody went south but you?
Yeah, everybody they moved all over the country,
Yes.
Only 2 of us live in the city, that's Bill Hampton and myself.
Okay. And do you all still keep in touch?
Oh yeah, they call me up every day, somebody calls,
Yes.
They want to know how I got some shoes before all them.
Oh, you're the first one to get the
Yeah.
shoes.
A young guy asked me to do a podcast for him. I said, yeah, I'll do it, Black History.
Yes.
Then he said, I'm gonna see if I can get in touch with somebody at Nike now, because they own them, and get a pair of shoes. I said, well, you won't be able to do it because the shoe is not out yet. It won't come out sometime in the spring. And this was on a Thursday. And that Saturday morning, I met him at the Crispus Attucks Museum to take pictures over there.
Yes.
And he had the shoes, and everybody eating the coach over there said, how'd you get some shoes? I said, man, I just lucked
You
into
knew the
it,
right
man."
people.
Yep.
That's right.
So what have been some obstacles that you have had to overcome personally, either playing for the team or just in your lifetime?
Well, personal obstacles, my folks were from the South. All of us came from the South, different parts of the South. And our folks had, menial jobs, and they did the best they could, but they kept a roof over our heads and we ate, So that's all you can ask, So we had to get out and hustle and go set pins at the bowling alley or go caddying, to get extra money and stuff, And then a couple of the guys had some really bad experiences. I found out about 5 years ago, one of the guys said they didn't have no running water or lights in their house the whole time he went to high school. I said, man, you gotta be kidding. He said, no. So his mother was half blind and she did day work, cleaned people's houses for $5 a day. And he said that's why he would go to different people's houses, friends, and eat there because he had one sister and 3 brothers. And she just couldn't, he just had to do without a lot, And then we had to overcome the refereeing, the officiating during our games, the guys would call fouls on you that weren't fouls. Or just like, take for instance, I got the rebound and hit a shot and got fouled. They wouldn't call no foul and give me a free throw. And if I took the shot and missed it, and they fouled me, they'd give me a 1 and 1. I should have got 2, but they'd give me a 1 and 1, where if you make the first one, you get a second, but if you miss it, you don't get nothing. Just stuff like that, Traveling out of town, we couldn't eat anywhere, none of the restaurants or anything. And if you found somebody who would serve you, we had to go to the back of the room, what they call their banquet room, which most of them were really nice, but we couldn't sit out front. People would be looking all in the windows trying to see us, just different students and the public,
Well, we're honored to have you to come here at Zionsville Community High School, and we thank you for your time.